Billie Eilish versus Olivia Rodrigo, the throne war of new generation pop music's silent whisper versus loud heartbreak. In the battle for the pop music throne, no confrontation has been as significant as the rivalry between these two giants born in the 2000s. On one side, we have Billie Eilish, who rewrote the industry rules with her dark whispers and lo-fi aesthetic. On the other, we have Olivia Rodrigo, who stormed the charts with rock energy and honest heartbreak themes, introducing the traditional pop rock sound to General Z. Both became global superstars before turning 18, both won major Grammy categories, and both turned teenage anxieties into billions of streams. But which of these two geniuses, who both dominated the modern pop scene 2 years apart, will be the lasting icon based on cultural legacy and musical impact? In this comparative analysis, we will examine every detail, from production styles to lyrical depth, from their entry into the music industry to the loyalty of their fan bases, in search of the true owner of the Gen Z throne. Production and sound identity. Lo-fi artist versus studio roar. The biggest difference between the two artists, music, stems from their production identities. Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas O'Connell built their career almost like an art movement, bedroom pop. This sound is characterized by ultra-minimalist arrangements, whispered vocals, deep bass lines, and experimental sound samples. Their songs give the listener the feeling of overhearing Eilish's most private, vulnerable moments. This intimate, homemade aesthetic was a rebellion against the polished, high-budget sound of traditional pop production. Eilish's production uses silence and space as an instrument, creating a claustrophobic, atmospheric experience that draws the listener in. This approach earned her the title of anti-pop queen and defined the late 2010s pop sound. Olivia Rodrigo, conversely, relies on louder and more traditional rock elements. Her music draws deep inspiration from pop-punk and alternative rock. Tracks like Good For You or All-American Bitch from her Sour and Guts albums feature high-energy guitar riffs, live drum sounds, and powerful stadium-echoing vocals. Although she works with producer Dan Negro, Rodrigo's sound aims to break Eilish's whispers, creating the opposite effect. Rodrigo prefers to express emotional intensity in a more direct, louder manner, linking her music to the sound of early 2000s icons like Paramore and Avril Lavigne. While Eilish creates atmosphere, Rodrigo releases energy. 2. Lyrical depth and themes, existential angst versus relationship drama. Billie Eilish's lyrics typically focus on existential, surreal, and psychological themes. In songs like Bury a Friend or Zanny, she deals with heavy subjects such as depression, suicidal ideation, substance abuse, or sleep paralysis. Her lyrical depth transcends personal experience, elevating fear and anxiety to a universal, cinematic dimension. Eilish frequently expresses the loneliness and disorientation caused by fame. This introspection, which peaked in the Happier Than Ever album, offers her fans not just personal drama, but a philosophical inquiry into mental health and identity. Olivia Rodrigo's lyrical focus is primarily on relationships, heartbreak, betrayal, and the intensity of young love. Her hits like, quote, Driver's License, Traitor, and Vampire are highly specific, focusing on particular events and emotional reactions. Rodrigo's strength lies in articulating an honest, sometimes cynical teenage rage that listeners can easily relate to. Her lyrics feel as intimate as a Dear Diary entry, giving her audience an immediate sense of closeness. While Eilish questions the world, Rodrigo questions her own heart, making her an emotional spokesperson for young listeners. 3. Entry into the industry. Traditional development versus viral speed. Billie Eilish's entry into the music industry is considered relatively traditional, even by modern standards. Although Ocean Eyes went viral, Interscope Records developed her gradually, releasing singles and an EP, Don't Smile at Me, consistently over 2 years. By the time her debut studio album, When We All Fall Asleep, was released at age 17, Eilish already had a dedicated fan base and industry recognition. This gave her the opportunity to experiment with and develop her artistic identity before her first major explosion, solidifying the robustness of her career. Olivia Rodrigo, in contrast, rose with sudden, astronomical, and viral speed. While a Disney Channel actress, she leaped to superstardom virtually overnight with the single Driver's License in 2021. The song broke daily streaming records on Spotify and instantly became a global cultural event. This lightning strike success caught Rodrigo less prepared for the industry's difficulties. From the beginning of her career, she faced intense scrutiny from fans and the media. This rapid ascent directed her music to focus more directly on raw, angry, and contemporary issues. However, both paths ultimately led to the same destination: global chart domination. Eilish became the youngest female artist to debut at #1 on the US and UK charts with her debut album. Rodrigo, meanwhile, broke the record as the first female artist to debut her first two albums, Sour and Guts, at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. Commercially, both artists marked a turning point with their success at a young age, combining the power of the traditional music industry and the social media age. IV. Cultural impact and image. Rebel artist versus relatable star. Billie Eilish's cultural impact was shaped beyond her music through her visual identity and fashion rebellion. Her baggy, branded clothing, her concealment of her body shape, and her bright neon-colored hair positioned her as a counter-reaction to the sexualized images of other artists on the pop scene. She represented General Z's lack of rules, authenticity, and openness about mental health. Eilish created a movement through her clothing style. Her fans felt they belonged to a community by dressing like her. She is a unique and avant-garde figure with the image of an artist. Olivia Rodrigo's cultural impact is built on the concept of relatability. Her image is more conventional, closer to the girl-next-door aesthetic, but her music is incredibly raw and honest. Despite her Disney star background, Rodrigo spoke about the disappointment of first love, the joy of getting a driver's license, and teenage anxieties with such a universal and sincere language through her songs that listeners felt she was like their own friend. Unlike Eilish's icon figure, she succeeded in becoming the emotional spokesperson and voice of her audience. Versus lyrical maturity and development trajectory, the rejection of the good girl image. Eilish and the aesthetic of evil. All the good girls go to hell. Eilish's lyrical journey evolved from surreal teenage angst to a mature critique, yet the most distinct lyrical turning point in this development was her outright rejection of the good girl myth created for women by pop culture. This theme peaked particularly in the 2019 song All the Good Girls Go to Hell. Here, Eilish questions moral hypocrisy and the expectations of God, or society. The song's lyrics mock the idea that even good girls who conform to social norms will ultimately go to hell, positioning herself as a devilish figure. This is a lyrical reflection of the anti-pop stance Eilish has maintained since the beginning of her career, encompassing everything from her fashion sense to her music. In this song, she voices the darkness and pressure behind the mask of perfectionism, acknowledging the complex, morally gray areas felt by young women. This maturity is not a simple rebellion, but an artistic examination of the psychological burden created by societal expectations, offering her fans a philosophical solace that being flawed is normal. Olivia Rodrigo's lyrical evolution progressed from the intensity of first heartbreak to broader issues of rage, cynicism, and self-esteem. Her rejection of the good girl image peaked with the song All American Bitch on the Guts album. This track, unlike Eilish's indirect philosophical critique, is a direct and loud declaration of feminist rage. The song satirizes the contradictory and impossible standards expected of women in the United States. The pressure to be beautiful yet smart, sexy yet innocent, happy yet emotionally unbreakable. Rodrigo's vocal transitions, from whisper to scream, perfectly mirror the mental fatigue and nervousness caused by this double standard. The song's lyrics, with lines like, "I smile and I cry and I thank you / I'm always polite," expose the rot and fury lying beneath the surface of beauty and conformity. With this song, Rodrigo not only represents youth, but loudly announces her refusal to play the good girl role, carrying the honest, raw, and unfiltered emotion of pop punk. This is a powerful cry of liberation for her young audience. VI. Records and commercial dominance. The stream royalty, Rodrigo's fast lightning success, Sour, and chart domination. In terms of commercial success, Olivia Rodrigo's rise displayed an unprecedented speed in modern music history. Sour, upon its release, broke the record for the most streamed album by a female artist on Spotify, instantly becoming a cultural phenomenon. The album reached over 21 million global equivalent units sold. Rodrigo's commercial strength is rooted in the fact that almost every song from Essuer entered the top 30 of the Billboard Hot 100 chart. This demonstrates her ability to dominate the charts not just with one hit, but with an entire album. Driver's License became one of the fastest songs to reach 1 billion streams and became a benchmark defining instant success. Her achievement proved how hungry young listeners were for emotional honesty and how quickly social media platforms can propel an artist to the top. Rodrigo's commercial dominance is focused on immediate, intense, and sustained chart performance. Eilish's stable power, hit me hard and soft and cultural resilience. Billie Eilish's commercial journey, in contrast to Rodrigo's lightning speed, is characterized by long-term stability and artistic resilience. Having accumulated over 70 billion career streams as of 2024, Eilish owes her success not to a single massive explosion, but to a continuous catalog spread over years. Although her latest album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, did not have a start as rapid as Rodrigo's debut, the virality of tracks like Birds of a Feather even months later demonstrates the lasting cultural impact of Eilish's music. Her streaming success is based not just on hit singles, but on the full listen-through rates of her entire albums. Furthermore, by winning 2 Academy Awards for James Bond and Barbie, Eilish has expanded the commercial boundaries of pop music into Hollywood's most prestigious realms. Eilish's success lies in her ability to penetrate the industry while maintaining her artistic integrity. 7. Legacy and permanence. Which one will keep the throne? Grammy value and artistic innovation. Billie Eilish's legacy is primarily built on artistic innovation and the rejection of industry rules. She is a figure who created her own production identity, whisper vocals, lo-fi, rather than just adhering to a music genre. The comparative value of her Grammy success is that she was the first female artist to win all 4 major categories: Album, Record, and Song of the Year, and Best New Artist, alone with a single album in 2020. This is proof that the industry sees her not just as a successful pop star, but as a visionary artist defining the future of music. Winning 2 Oscars and her inseparable partnership with Phineas have granted her the status of not just a pop star, but also a profound artist and composer. Eilish's way of inspiring young artists is to convey the message: set your own rules. You can be a musical genius even in your own home. Rodrigo's legacy and generational spokespersonship. Olivia Rodrigo's permanence, however, depends on her musical honesty and her ability to be the emotional spokesperson for youth. Rodrigo rapidly won 8 Grammys with her first 2 albums, Sour and Guts, proving her commercial power. Her Grammy success is an indication that even in the age of consumption frenzy, streaming, sincere and honest lyrics can be recognized for their artistic value. Rodrigo changed the musical landscape by bringing pop-punk and rock sounds back to the mainstream. Her legacy lies in her power to be a relatable hero who voices General Z's emotions authentically and rawly. Rodrigo's way of inspiring young artists is to show them that even their most painful and personal experiences can be transformed into the greatest works of art. She encourages young people to turn their anger and heartbreak into an anthem, rather than hiding it. The future of pop will actually be determined not by a throne war, but by a synergy. Eilish changed how pop should sound: quiet, dark. Rodrigo changed what pop should talk about: honest, angry heartbreak. Together they perfectly represent the emotional complexity and musical diversity of the Gen Z generation. They both share the throne because they are both the building blocks of modern pop music's future. The joint legacy of the musical revolution and human value. Ultimately, the comparison between Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo is less a rivalry and more the definition of a holistic revolution brought to music by Generation Z. These 2 young women did not just break records. They created a new cultural environment where young people do not have to hide their emotions, and where creativity cannot be confined by professional boundaries. Billie Eilish demonstrated how music should be made by establishing her dark aesthetic, whispered vocals, and bedroom production as a global standard. Her success taught young artists that holding on to artistic authority is not a commercial risk, but the greatest reward. Conversely, Olivia Rodrigo proved what music should talk about: expressing heartbreak, rage, and insecurity with unfiltered sincerity. Rodrigo's success showed listeners that emotional honesty is the strongest connection, and that even a famous name can experience the most ordinary emotional dramas. Both artists, even during the difficult transitional periods of their careers, demonstrated the courage to incorporate their personal struggles into their art. Eilish's pushback against the social pressures surrounding body image, and Rodrigo's embrace of rock and roll rebellion despite her Disney origins, made them not just successful musicians, but valuable human figures of social change. They are a megaphone that carries the mental health, feminism, and environmental awareness of youth to millions. While Eilish represents the autocracy at the apex of the industry with her Oscar and Grammy victories, Rodrigo represents the heart and rage of her generation by bringing back pop-punk. Their musical genius, commercial success, and, most importantly, their ability to present their human condition without a mask have made them the most successful and most valued faces of contemporary pop culture. Both of them fully deserve the throne, and their legacies will continue to inspire young artists for years to come.